Hello and welcome to the Caithness Amateur Dram Antics Society tasting. And tonight I'm going to carry on with the Cadenhead's Winter 2023 pack, which we started a few weeks ago now. I'm sorry, I've been away for a while. And we have the next 4 drams of the 8. So we did the first 4. And tonight we've got the Royal Brackla, the Linkwood, the Ardmore, and the Enigma Islay 16-year-old. So we're going to start off with the Royal Brackla. And well, this one is a Royal Brackla 13-year-old, distilled in 2010 and bottled in 2023. It was partially matured in a Madeira cask, and it has an ABV of 50.3%, and that for a 13-year-old is quite low for a cask strength whisky, which suggests that the cask has been perhaps a little leaky. It was a barrel, and the number of bottles were 276. So Royal Brackla near Nairn is a Highland whisky, and this one has been in the Madeira barrel since June 2019. Brackla, Royal Brackla, is historically known for its smoky spirit, although that has changed over time. It was founded in 1817 by Captain William Fraser, and that time it made him deeply unpopular with the moonshiners in the area. But his whisky was still a great success, and it had a fan in William IV, and it became known by some as the King's Own whisky. Nowadays, Brackla is known for its fresh fruitiness and quite a strong nose. And it's managed to survive the tumultuous history of the Scotch industry, perhaps owing some of that to its royal appointment and location. The distillery's sherry casks are particularly noteworthy, and I've always found Brackla is best to be enjoyed at cask strength, or at least higher than the official offerings. Madeira, and there is one in the March 2025 Lady, I think it's Lady of the Glen tasting a Madeira cask, Tiananich, partially finished, and I'll be reviewing that one soon. But Madeira has been a source of contention for me, as I always think it's a bit of a band-aid for the whisky industry. The Scottish Malt Whisky Society used to finish casks in Madeira if they failed the tasting panel. And the quality of these finishes is a bit debatable. Cadenheads, on the other hand, seem to have a better handle on finishing and selecting casks, so let's hope this trend continues, as a 4-year finish in a Madeira cask may be too long on paper at least. So let's see what we have here. So it has got a sort of nutty brown colour. And there's some nice tears on this one. Sorry about that. So let's see what we have on the nose. And you get a fruitiness, you get strawberry jam, figs, caramelized sugar, and a sort of vanilla cream mixed with a splash of vegetable water. perhaps, so probably a little bit early in the year for this, but perhaps even a little bit of asparagus. And then going back in, it's quite sweet and slightly oily. Prunes, dried apricots, panettone, and honey and lemon oil. And you get that vanilla sponge, figs and pears. And there's a slight perfume note followed by orange and a touch of smoke. We'll try them out. And you get lots of apricots again. And a sort of Danish pastry, sugar donut. It's viscously sweet with date jam, plum conserve, and a teaspoon of marmalade. There's a peppery oak flowing beneath to balance out the otherwise very sweet palate. And then you get walnut whip, vanilla cream. It's quite doughy with hazelnuts, touch of sawdust, cranberries, pimento, and Brazil nuts. And it has a medium finish, slowly drying, crispy red apples and pears, with a touch of mint sprig, tea leaves, tobacco and cardamom. I'm going to put a mill in this, a mill of water in this. So I'll probably take it down to the low to mid 40s. And I think I detect a little bit of Scotch mist there. And the water does release a touch more floral and citrusy notes. Apricot, pear, and a very light touch of sulphur. And a touch of bitter oak supplements the body in a good way, with some earthy tobacco at the base. It's still very sweet, really sweet. Wood apricot compote. It's mild and nutty. It has very fine whiskey. And the finish again is very sweet. Apricot and compote again. So I think it's nicer than I would have expected. Quite a light whiskey, quite elegant and quite floral. Lots of fruit, bit of honey, touch of spice, nuts. It's probably not a first fill Madeira cask, or was it a leaky cask? Because that ABV does seem abnormally low for a 13-year-old natural strength whiskey. The 4-year finish doesn't mask the distillate, but complements it. And although I'm not a big fan of Madeira cask maturation, this is decently executed. So I'm gonna cleanse my palate. I'm on a McAllister's Little's oat cake tonight. Very nice, not too salty. So the second dram we have is a Linkwood from Elgin. It's situated on the outskirts of the small Murray town. And this one is a 10-year-old, bottled at 56.8%, and has been in an Olorosa hogshead since March 2022, so 2.5 years in an Olorosa hogshead. This one, distilled 2013, bottled in November 23, and 360 bottles. So Linkwood was established back in 1821 by Peter Brown. As he aged and eventually passed away, the Brown family operated, developed and expanded the distillery in the late 1800s before being brought to the stock exchange. The 1900s proved to be an extremely variable time for the distillery, with even greater expansion and changes of ownership, briefly interrupted by short periods of closure. In 2012, it was upgraded again, with capacity now reaching 5.5 million litres per year. Of course, it's owned by Diageo. Today, it's known for its light floral spirit with a strong springtime character. And it's got a consistent and classic style that's reliable without any unnecessary showiness. And, you know, maybe other Speyside distilleries should follow that. It's hard to get sherry oak maturation right. Too long and it will be overly dry and syrupy, and too short and it won't accept enough influence. Too active and it will need to be closely monitored, and too tired and it will accept nothing but oak tannin. So it's taken on quite a bit of that sherry colour, quite a dark whiskey. And it's got lovely tears on this one. And you get the balsamic dressing, the golden syrup, honey, butter, stewed apples, worn leather and chili flakes. And it's like bruised apples, red pepper, bitters, and some chocolate. It's like a very caramelly, praline, toffee and raisin rolls, and chocolate and Mars bars that might only need a quick deep fry. You get the idea here. Apple crumble soaked in calvados. Moderately dosed cooking. Flinty, perfumey red apples. It's actually a very nice nose and a lovely sherry, easygoing and uncomplicated. Not a sherry bomb, but we'll try them out. Blackcurrant, rosewater, ginger cake. Has a slightly oily texture, and it's got a reddish hue from the Olorosa hogshead. Oranges, leather, apricot, and red velvet cake. Not Christmas spices so far. ginger root, karma, and a touch of heat, tobacco, beetroot, and cask char. And this is where the Olorosa cask has taken over. There's abundant heated spices, cinnamon, cloves, aniseeds, licorice, and ginger. And vegetable date syrups, roasted Brazil nuts, toasted oak, classic Jaffa cakes, caramel filled chocolate, Mars bars again, Nescafe and Ovaltine. And behind that, there's honey and lime peels. And the finish is a good length with caramel and toffee, and then roasted peanuts, maple syrup, and marmalade lingering in the aftertaste. And try a mill in this one as well. I think I can get a little bit of Scotch mist there. And now you get a whiff of sherry vinegar and wet applewood. Good swimmer. Pine nuts, stewed apples, some oak tannin at the base, but it's not disruptive. It's a medium finish, and only gently dying. Stewed apples, fresh oak, slightest touch of menthol, cranberry and nutmeg. It's nutty and vibrant rather than syrupy. The cask doesn't seem to be as impactful as the colour suggested. Well, you know, Linkwood is a delicate and understated single malt that requires gentle handling. And with this one, the Olorosa finish has taken centre stage, which has resulted in a loss of the distinctive Linkwood floral character. However, it's very well made and somewhat old-fashioned. And, you know, Linkwood has loved sherry since time immemorial. So that was a very nice whisky. I'll cleanse my palate. So for dram number 3, we're turning to a Ardmore, 11-year-old, 51.6%, which has been in PX for 3 years. So distilled in 2012, put into PX hogshead for the last 3 years. Bottled in November 2023, 210 bottles. So Ardmore is a substantial Victorian distillery. And it has a scale which is surprising given its gentle rural surroundings. And it's also unusual due to the style of whisky it produces, because it's a peated Highland malt. If they produce unpeated, it's called Ardmore rather than Ardmore. Uh, and with Ardmore, the wood smoke elements are balanced by a more floral nature. And Ardmore deserves to stand out, I think, and I'm always grateful when Cadenhead releases a cask of Ardmore, because it sometimes seems like the current owners of the distillery, Inverhouse, aren't putting much effort into exploring the full potential of the whisky. So this one is quite dark. You can see that PX influence there. Incredibly dark whisky. And it has great tears. And you get the cola cubes. Streaky bacon. Roasted almonds. Sort of an old antique wooden table with a basket of red apples on top. Burnt tobacco. There's something sticky and syrupy hidden underneath all that. Honey glazed streaky bacon, figs, prunes, dark raisins, jam spread over a box of cigars, red wine gums, cinnamon bark, rich dark chocolate, and antique wood. You get the black currants and the chocolate creams and the Bristol gravy granules. And it's like being in a redwood forest. There's a mustiness there, slightly earthy, soot, chili flakes and pigments, and pimento. We're trying them out. And now you get the smoke, the barbecue smoke. But then maraschino cherries, buttered toast. The earthy and peppery peat is the first thing I noticed, and then the mixed berry jams come in. Flat cola, slightly more syrupy than fruity. Fizzy apple, bacon. It's quite a mouthful. Gravy, chocolate, earthy walnuts, and it's quite fatty in places. Sooty, more old wood, resinous, treacle, grilled mushrooms, blackberries, charcoal, and red fruits. And it's quite a short finish. It's a moderately dry finish with that lingering bonfire ash and a touch of butter spread and red fruits. Slight campfire red embers, smoked cheese, and peat smoke. I'll try and mill in this one as well. This one's so dark, I think we'll struggle to see Scotch mist in it. Yeah, it's very dark, this whiskey. And you still get that big bag of cola cubes and wet earth and a whiff of burnt candle wax and bitter chocolate with a slight Touch of farmyard funk on this one, on the nose with water. It's got good complexity, but it does feel a bit over oxidized. We'll try them out. And you get smoky barley and that smouldering bonfire after the rain. Salted toffee, citrus, bitter marmalade, and there's some spice and some sherry notes. It's quite a warming dram, this one. And again, it's quite a short finish with the warm sensation building into a sort of caramelized nuts, toasted oak, and baking spices. So this one, I've had a 22-year-old boutique whiskey society, boutique whiskey company, Ardmore, and I think it was done in bourbon, but this one with half the age and a quarter of the price, it's as dark as soot and it pours very easily. And you know, Ardmore distillate perfectly complements what in this case has been an excellent cask. So I'll cleanse my palate again. And we're going to end up with the Enigma Islay. 16-year-old, bottled at 55% ABV. And this one's been in an Olorosa hogshead for about 18 months. So it was distilled in 2007, bottled in November 2023, put into an Olorosa hogshead in March 2022. And we don't know how many bottles there are. This is from their Enigma range. So it features unnamed spirit from Islay. It's a single malt Scotch whisky. And I think the Enigma range has been very, very good. And I think people do a bit of detective work to try and get which distillery it is. I can't give you any detailed information about whiskey's origins, but I think we could surmise that it's a distillery that doesn't allow its name to be used, and it doesn't offer a mock name. Not many mention of any bottles available, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that this may be Lagavulin. So the finish is quite interesting on this one, which will influence the flavour profile and take the liquid in a new and interesting journey. So yeah, you can see the Olorosa's had an effect on the colour of this whisky, and it has medium sort of tears, and it opens with menthol, antiseptic, aniseed, vapor rub, and copper. It's quite punchy with a lot of upfront aroma, cigarette smoke, bruised apples and tar. And it's a medicinal peat smoke, but I've not got an awful lot of, yeah, maybe a little TCP, a little bit of gauze, a little bit of Germany. But the alcohol's in great balance. I'd say it's more metallic, and that's been accentuated by the additional maturation in sherry. Very interesting and very, very uncommon. What will the palate be like? Burnt embers, cigar boxes, raisins, wet bark, cinnamon bun, fudge and brown sugar, black pepper and used shoelaces, and it's quite autumnal. Let's see where the mouth takes us. The tears are actually quite impressive now. And the palate has more of the medicinal peat, the TCP, bandages, antiseptic. Like walking down a hospital corridor, there's more of that cigarette smoke. Burnt caramel, cinnamon, salt crisps, and a sort of well roasted pork. Well fired coffee beans, cardboard, pickled walnuts, and a hint of lime too. Sandalwood, Iberian ham, toasted nuts, and then bark, milk chocolate, sultanas, and brown sugar, toffee, fruit loaf, leather, shoe polish, nutty, star anise, and blackcurrant. And the finish is sweet smoke, char grilled steak, burnt ends. There's quite a lot of heavy smoked meat and charcoal flavours on the medium to long finish. Let's try a mill of water in this. This is a very interesting whisky. Not terribly easy to pinpoint the distillery in this one. I don't think it's Coolida. It's not Kilconan. It's not Ardbeg. It's not Bruichladdich. Don't think it's Bunnahabhain. I don't think it's Lafroig. So yeah, there's some Scotch mist there. Now with the water, a mill of water, it's slightly muted. Grit, charred wood, ginger powder, smoked back bacon and coal. I'd say the sherry cask sweetness comes more prominent, given that sweet peat combo that many people love. I think I prefer it without water. And you get more meatiness coming through. Thinly sliced beef slated oxo cubes, freshly turned dirt and copper piping. And yeah, there's more sweetness, so that sweet peat combo comes through again. And the finish is long and very peaty, getting quite dry with a pinch of salt there. So, you know, this is aggressively Islay. This is a dram that some people will absolutely despise. But for those who enjoy it, you will have something quite special. It's one for the dirty peat lovers and me. I would be impressed if there's a better bottle in their recent releases. So the second pour from this tasting set proved a two-act performance. First act featured an understated Royal Brackla, not overpowered by a Madeira cask finish, and a Linkwood submerged by the sherry cask. Then the second act, the peat came out, and the Ardmore shone brightly. And it's worth seeking out more from this distillery, particularly independent bottlings. I think the Enigma Islay brought the curtain down. And if you love Islay peat monsters, it is a star. Thank you for listening. We'll be back soon. Cheers.